Welcome back. All right. Time to discuss Jake O'Brien as I continue to look at potential top draft picks in this year's National Hockey League entry draft. O'Brien's an interesting one. He is a center. Could go anywhere, though, from 5th to 15th. I don't know. He's 6'2", 188 centimeters, 170 pounds or 77 kilograms for those who are on the island of metric. And if you look at the rankings, Elite Prospects has him at 10. Hockey Prospect has him at 5. Bob McKenzie has him at 7. Craig Button has him at 11th. And NHL Central Scouting has him 4th amongst North American skaters. So that's how this year's draft's going to be. It's going to be all over. Again, I'm wearing just the generic jersey because, yeah, I have no idea. This should be fun. I think that when we get to draft day, we get through the first round, I think there's going to be some movement. I think there's going to be teams who are sold on a guy like Jake O'Brien. I think there's going to be teams that maybe aren't, and so maybe the phones get worked a little bit. So he's been playing for Brantford the last couple of seasons. 61 games last season, 13 goals, 51 assists, 64 points. This year, 66 games played, 32 goals, 66 assists, 98 points. Excellent playmaker. I haven't seen anybody saying he's not a very good playmaker. He absolutely is, and an assist per game will tell you he should be a good setup man in the National Hockey League. But then there's the questions. Now, he's seen as having excellent on-ice vision, can make really good seam passes. That's part of being a good playmaker. That he can see those passes on a level that other prospects maybe can't, right? And that is something that will impress general managers and scouts alike. He's a very good puck handler. He is capable of those transition plays. He is very good at getting through traffic at times. One thing is, he's seen as being good defensively. He's made some strides this season on the defensive side, but he's going to need to add some more strength and get a little bit better defensively in order to excel in the National Hockey League. I think one thing that we have seen change in the NHL over the last 10 years especially is that the players who aren't as good defensively are very likely to fall in the draft as well. Teams want two-way forwards. They want guys that they can count on at both ends of the ice. So your all-offense goal scorers, or in this case, a really good point producer in terms of assists, may slide down a little bit if a team doesn't think that the defensive side or the strength are where they want it to be. He has a good shot. Looks like he uses it more in some games than in others. Some of the scouting reports from games were, yeah, great shot. He got it through tonight. And others with, he was a little bit hesitant, or he's more likely to look for the pass than for the shot. And this is where I once again say, if you have a coaching staff when you're looking at development that can help him work on that shot and work on, maybe it's a confidence thing too, right? That can help. He has tremendous potential, but there is that risk of him busting too. That the style of hockey he plays, so one of the reports I was reading is that he slows the play down, and he does it in such a way that it doesn't seem translatable to the NHL game. And that was in one scouting report. It was not in all scouting reports, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, because if that's said by your team scout, so let's say you're Pat Verbeek, the Anaheim Ducks, you're drafting a 10th, Jake O'Brien's there. If your scout says, hey, he slows things down a bit, I don't know if I'd pick him here, there may be other options that are better, right? Now, there is always that chance that a team passes on him and regrets it later. We see that often, but when you're drafting 18-year-olds, there's always going to be that little bit of uncertainty, which once again makes the draft a lot of fun to watch. So he does overhandle the puck at times, which maybe that's a confidence thing. Maybe it's something that, once again, the right coach, the right training can help work on him with. But he does slow things down a little bit. But the seam pass, the excellent playmaking, and the fact that he's good at both ends of the ice, if not fantastic at both ends of the ice, that should make him a top 10 prospect in this year's draft. The one question seems to be out there is he a future top 6 forward in the NHL, or is he likely to be a third-line center in the National Hockey League? Now, third-line centers are very important. You look at the time I'm recording this, of course, the Florida Panthers look like they're set to win a Stanley Cup, and their third line has been a driving force. And you look at teams in recent Stanley Cup history, that bottom 6 can be almost as important as the top 6. And if Jake O'Brien works on that defensive game, gets a little bit stronger, as a third line center, he could be ideal. But drafting in the top 10, you're normally not looking for a third line center. You're looking for that top 6 forward. So if there's a general manager in the top 10 that thinks, yes, Jake O'Brien is going to be a top 6 forward, they'll draft him. But there's also those general managers who may say, I think he's more geared towards being a third line center. I think this other prospect's going to make a better top 6 forward, so you draft him instead. Now, Anaheim is drafting at 10th, so that's one area to look at it. But again, Hockey Prospect has him at 5th, so there's the possibility that there's a general manager ahead of 10th that wants him. Columbus at 14th, I think they'll be looking for a forward in this year's draft. And if Vancouver doesn't trade their draft pick, and I really hope they don't, it's number 15. They need forwards in their system. I would say another center in their system would be good too. It is possible that Jake O'Brien ends up going to the Vancouver Canucks, once again, should they keep that pick. So we'll see what happens there, but where do you think Jake O'Brien goes in this year's draft? As wide open as this is, it's anybody's guess, which makes it a lot of fun. There have been drafts over the last 5 or 6 years where it's pretty obvious how the top 5 are probably going to go, maybe even the top 10. And this year being so wide open makes it kind of fun. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.